Inshallah.
What's your mental?
Okay, so start with your dad's relatives visiting, whatever house that was at.
Oh yeah, that was a tin house.
Tin house. So you were even
Well, the first time
under
they came,
5.
I don't remember them, but I remember their dog. They had a German Shepherd
Uh-huh.
that they brought with them from Arkansas. I guess that was the first time they came up to Arkansas. And my dad set them up on a farm of their own.
So they moved. They came to Arkansas.
No, they came from Arkansas.
Right. And he got a farm going for them
In South Dakota.
South Dakota. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then I guess, I don't know if it was too cold or what, but they didn't like it.
Mhm.
So they didn't give the farm back to my dad. They just sold it off and went back to Arkansas.
Mhm.
And then they came again. Well, I remember that German Shepherd. His name was Jack.
Mhm.
They named him after my dad.
Oh.
The next time they came was in Bixby,
Mhm.
and I remember Aunt Anna. She had those really flowery dresses,
Mhm.
kind of light, silky.
So was that his sister or was that
That was
his brother's
that
wife?
was yeah,
Uh-huh.
my Uncle Jess's wife, Aunt Anna.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and she had to do all the cooking because she wouldn't eat my mother's food.
Uh-huh. Because she was an Indian.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because she was an Indian, she didn't want to eat her food.
Mhm.
You know, my grandparents on my father's side,
Mhm.
not the grandparents for him, but his parents, they lived with my parents when they were first married.
Uh-huh.
That's how Sunshine got hold of that book, we thought.
Oh.
So, but they weren't, I don't know how it was living with them.
Uh-huh.
Because she was a Southern woman. He was too.
Oh.
And here was Mama.
Right. Not quite ready.
Yeah.
You gotta say Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting how that ended up.
So then my dad put him up in another farm in
Mhm.
South Dakota. Gave him everything. Farm machinery and animals and all that good stuff to start a farm. And their relatives, their sibling, their daughters, and their daughters' kids still have that farm today.
Oh.
They still live
Do
on
they
it.
have the last name Wells?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Oh no, well their last name is Marty.
That's your marriage.
Yeah.
Because they were daughters.
The
Okay.
2 daughters married 2 brothers.
Oh.
Yeah. The 2 brothers used to run around with Joy and Happy,
Mhm.
and then the cousins came, and so the cousins used to be jealous of them,
Mhm.
but they were just friends.
So you left the school, the
Uh-huh.
boarding school, and what town were you living in? Had your parents moved again? Is that why?
They moved from the farm.
And
Yeah.
is that when they left behind your doll?
Oh yeah, my doll. Forgot about her.
Uh-huh. When did
Yeah.
you get her?
Well, actually, didn't get her. I don't know. I came home from school one year, the second year I was in that boarding school,
Mhm.
and this doll was sitting on the dresser. She was I don't know. It was porcelain. Not really porcelain because she had the face that cracked.
Mhm.
I don't know what they were made out of.
Mhm. Aren't they porcelain?
I don't.
Or china?
Porcelain is like glass, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't. So it wasn't porcelain, but it was other stuff.
Mm.
Because you could peel it off, and then it was something else under.
Oh.
But I never did because but her face was cracked,
Mhm.
and she had blonde hair,
Mhm.
pink dress, and a pink satin coat,
Mhm.
and a bonnet. So I played with her all summer long. I had a blue cradle that I used to rock her, put her in. And
Mhm.
so then it was time to go back to school, and I put her in her cradle, all dressed up and everything else, covered her up, thought she'd be there when I came home in the spring.
Mhm.
And then my folks moved, and they didn't take her.
They left her behind.
My brother and his wife were on the farm then,
Mhm.
but they didn't have any kids. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, so
So where did your parents move to?
they moved to Lemon at first, and that was the year Joy came and got Lanny and I and Darlene and Mary. Mary had graduated ninth grade from that school, and she went to Rapid City where Happy was, and started working
Mhm.
down there. So it was just Lanny and me and Darlene,
Mhm.
and so we spent the summer in Faith, South Dakota with Joy.
Oh.
Uh-huh. And then we started school at in Faith, and then
And that was a high school?
no, it was a grade school
Okay.
because I was fourth grade.
And it was a public school?
Yeah.
Just for everybody?
Yeah,
White
yeah.
kids and...
I was like the only Indian in class,
Oh, okay.
which I didn't like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we went there probably a month, and then we went. For whatever reason, we went back. We went up to Lemon where my folks were, and then they moved us to Fort Yates,
Mhm.
to where my grandma lived. My grandma's house on the
On your
reservation.
mom's side, uh-huh.
Hmm. So we lived.
So how old was she when she died?
Who?
Your grandma. I can remember seeing pictures of her now, but I
Mhm.
didn't remember her being that old, but I guess she was.
Yeah. She died in 1961.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how old she was.
Mm-hmm.
She must have been born in. She was probably born around the time my dad was.
Mm-hmm. So she was probably in her mid-70s.
Or 81,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought she was older, but she wasn't. I mean, you know.
She just looks like it.
Hmm?
She looks like it.
Yeah, she does. But she probably grew up hard,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Outdoors.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. So what else is on your list? Did we miss anything?
Oh, yes, here it is. My list. Boarding school, we got that. Carrying water in cream cans.
Where was that?
That was in Fort Yates.
Uh-huh. So you were older.
Yeah, I was a teenager.
Uh-huh.
I was probably 14.
So you still didn't have electricity or water
No,
at that time?
no. We had an outhouse.
Uh-huh. A double outhouse.
Yeah, well, we had a single one on the reservation.
Uh-huh.
There were no double one.
Uh-huh.
Our double one was on the farm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So in Fort Yates, you're back on the reservation.
Uh-huh.
What reservation was it?
Standing Rock.
Which is the one you were on before, right?
I was never on the reservation until I was 10 years old.
Oh, okay.
Or 11. I was 11.
Mm-hmm.
We moved to Fort Yates, and then so we started school there. That's how come we didn't go back to Pierre. They had
Oh, 'cause there was
they
a
had a
school
public school
nearby.
there.
And was that just Indians at that school?
Indians and whites that lived on the reservation.
So there were white people that lived on the reservation as well? Uh-huh.
More Indians, but there was
Uh-huh.
some white.
Uh-huh.
They worked for the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So that was where the headquarters were for that section or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So those kids that belonged to those families went to that public, you know, school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so is that where, so what was the year, 38, or no, 48-ish? Right, because you were 11, so
Mhm.
1948. So was there prohibition during that time?
No,
That was before then.
Prohibition was
That
before.
was early. But But the Indians weren't allowed to. What was the story behind the moonshine?
Oh, yeah, yeah, well, the Indians on the reservation couldn't buy liquor.
Uh huh.
The white people had.
But your dad, being a white man, could get it
Could get all the liquor he needed.
off of the reservation.
On the reservation.
Oh, on the reservation. Oh, uh huh.
They had bars on the reservation for whatever reason.
For
I
the
mean,
white people.
For the white people, I guess.
Uh huh.
Uh-huh.
And so he would sell it to the.
So they'd come and want a jug of wine, so my dad would charge him $1 to go get it, and then $1 for the wine.
Uh huh.
So that's how he bootlegged and fed us.
Uh huh.
And then he
Because was he working at that time, or?
no, was he?
Because he'd been sick already.
Yeah, that
Uh-huh.
was after we. Remember, I told you he went to the hospital
Right.
last year,
Uh huh.
and then going back to the farm, he couldn't farm anymore.
Uh huh.
I guess it took too much out of him or something. I don't know. So then, on the reservation, yeah, there was no job there.
Mhm.
Although they did give him that job, heating that warehouse.
Uh huh. And your mom did what? Your mama, she.
She worked for a nurse.
Uh huh.
She,
Taking care of her. little
yeah,
girl.
taking care of her little
Nina,
girl. She was
hush.
probably 1
Uh-huh.
year old. Yeah.
Hmm. So, at what point did they have dances? I remember you talking about going to dances like.
Oh yeah. Well, this public school. Oh, I never went, until I was older. Joy taught me how to dance,
Mm-hmm. Jitterbug.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I was probably 15 or so, before I. They used to have a winter carnival. The
Mhm.
school did, the high school, and they would decorate the basement of the school, and and they have all kinds of vendors,
Mhm.
whatnot. And so each class had to. Now I'm in high school.
Mhm.
Each class had to have a representative that you could vote for,
Uh-huh.
for the king or queen
Mhm.
of the carnival.
Mhm.
So my girlfriend, we all elected her to represent the freshman class. She, and they gave her the tiniest box. These other girls, already it was, they were big wigs at school,
Mhm.
and since we were freshmen, they didn't, so they gave her the tiniest box, and Curtis happened to be home and Joy and everybody else, and we stuffed her box full of tickets, just stuffed it, and she won the queen,
Mhm.
and the king was a senior. Mhm.
So, were you ever in any plays or choir or
I was in choir, but not any plays, because I
didn't want to be on stage?
Yes. Yeah, they did have some pretty good plays though,
Mhm.
but I was never in. I had to be in a choir,
Mhm.
wear little choir outfits and sing.
Mhm.
Was it a full play?
So, did you have a uniform at that school?
No,
Uh-huh. For the public school.
yeah, you just wear your own clothes,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. So, I don't know. Was there anything else on your list?
No,
No.
no.
So you graduated there. So you graduated high school
Mhm.
and went off to business college.
Yeah. I went to Haskell Institute. That's where my mother went.
Haskell, where is that located?
Lawrence, Kansas.
Oh.
That's where Kansas University is.
Mhm.
Wilt the Stilt
So
went
was
there.
it not very far from where you were?
Well, Kansas.
Well, I don't know how far over the border that was compared to.
North Dakota? South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas.
Yeah. I missed geography. I wasn't in that grade.
Yeah. So there was every kind of Indian,
Mhm.
all states represented,
Mhm.
and Alaska.
Was it an Indian school?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's going high school. Yeah, Indian.
Huh.
It was the one Mother went to, which
Right.
you know, it was like Carlisle. Remember I told you they had those schools that they opened when they took the kids away from their parents.
Mhm.
Haskell was
So
one.
they took them by force then.
Then, yeah, but
And
not.
so Haskell though wasn't a grade school. It was a.
No. By the time I went there, it was they had high school there, and
Uh-huh.
then it continued on
Oh.
for.
So did you get to go there for free? Oh. Huh.
You went there for free, and you had to do some chores.
Right.
I had to work in the cafeteria,
Uh-huh.
either in the morning or at night, depending on. They'd switch you.
Mhm.
You worked like a quarter of the year in the morning, and then a quarter,
Mhm.
and then the next semester you worked in the morning, and then
Uh-huh.
in the evening.
Uh-huh.
There were some girls that were the vegetable. They called them the vegetable girls, and they had to get up real early in the morning, and that was their job all year.
Uh-huh.
They never, but they got to sleep in on Sunday, I guess. They didn't have to get up at all.
Mhm.
So we roomed. My girlfriend and I, we roomed with a girl from Arizona and one from New Mexico.
Mhm. So, what else? So your dad died somewhere in there.
Yeah, he died in 1957,
Uh-huh.
the year I was going to graduate from high school.
From high school?
Hmm
Oh,
I graduated in
so
1957.
you were 20. Mhm.
Yeah, remember I
You
went to
started
school.
late, right. Yeah. I guess I just thought you caught up somewhere in there, you know.
I could have, but they didn't move us ahead.
Mhm.
They knew all there was ever supposed to know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. So he died in what'd you say, 57? In what town? He was in the
They
hospital.
took him to Bismarck.
Uh-huh.
At first, Happy took him to McLaughlin, and then they transferred him to Bismarck, McLaughlin, South Dakota.
Uh-huh.
And then they transferred him to Bismarck,
Mhm.
and he died in the hospital.
Mhm. And your mom died in 1965.
5 car accident. Uh-huh.
In North Dakota?
No, South Dakota, Spearfish Canyon.
Spearfish Canyon. Uh-huh. Okay, well,
Yeah.
can't think of anything else.
I don't think so. That's all there is.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Brittany will turn it into memoirs.
Yes.
An interview with a vampire.
An interview with Little Big Toe.